What's going on there, folks? Good evening. It is the Earthmaster on this beautiful Monday night. May 16th, 2022 is the date. About 7:18 p.m. California time. And if you're wondering what that earthquake was, it just disappeared off of the live seismographs there on the left bottom side of the screen. That is actually a pretty good sized earthquake over around the Mount St. Helens area. Mount St. Helens in Washington. Let's wait for it to round up again around the bend. While we do that, I want to check here on the Earthquake 3D globe, see if anyone's reporting this obvious earthquake activity there at Mount St. Helens. Not a blip or a bleep up there on the globe, folks. Nada. So go ahead and look at that. See that signature right there? That's Mount St. Helens, followed up by a little aftershock sequence there as we speak. That's a pretty good size one there, too. I'd say definitely around a 2, maybe a 2.5 at Mount St. Helens. Let's go ahead and check out the latest activity on the USGS map. I know these guys, we can sit here and talk trash all we want about them all day. The thing is, they have access to all the data. They're the ones that monitor the seismographs. They're the ones that own the seismograms across the world and certain areas and whatnot. So I don't. I just report it. So I can only report what I'm looking at and whatnot. There is a 5.3 that kicked off here in the southern, kind of in an odd area out here in the southern part of the Pacific Plate. This is a very odd zone because we don't see too much earthquake out here. It's well off the coast of New Zealand, but it's out there in the middle of the plate. A 5.3 at 10 kilometers. Not for sure if there's any seamounts or volcanoes out here. Looks, for the most part, at least on this map, pretty flat. So a little odd earthquake there, well south of New Zealand. Let's go ahead and check out. It has been reviewed by one of those folks that have a diploma on their wall and call themselves a geologist or a seismologist, which probably one day I will be, but I'm not going to be like them. I'll definitely be more transparent. Looking at historical earthquake activity here. Let's make sure I clicked on the right one. Look at that. There's nothing. There's actually nothing to report in terms of historical earthquake activity here. Way out here in the middle of the plate. You just don't see that too often, do you? That large of an earthquake. Of course, the plate boundary here, the Antarctic and the Pacific Plate and the Australian areas, yes, it kind of follows that ring and that rim around the plate boundary. But look at this. Nada. Zip zero in terms of historical earthquake activity out there. In that region. So something weird going on. And about that time is when, of course, we've seen that signature on the Mount St. Helens station. It's still there. It's definitely still there. Let me show you guys, just in case you're just joining in here. It's following the, let's see, stand by for just a second here. I've got a couple different stations here. This here is in Southern California, Barrett Station outside of San Diego. Northern California, southern end of the Cascadia, around Petrolia, California. And down here, Mount St. Helens, right at the summit, a well-defined earthquake, folks. We know, I think all of us know what an earthquake looks like on a seismograph. And that's a pretty good size one, followed up by an aftershock. Not for sure how big that aftershock is or the main quake, but it's definitely a noticeable quake in the vicinity of Mount St. Helens. And if you know, or if you've been following this channel, we've been watching a lot of activity around Mount St. Helens. They just completely stopped reporting on it. They were reporting about maybe one earthquake for every 15 or 20 that actually did take place. Now they're just like, forget it. Let's not even report on it. It's not worth it. Look at that. Nothing being reported here at Mount St. Helens. Okay, EMSC not even picking up on it. Let's go ahead and check out the Tremor PNSN network. See if these folks are checking in on the Mount St. Helens activity. Nada. All coincide with each other, though, right? They're all agencies, and they all communicate together. Why they turn off notifications on the Mount St. Helens earthquake activity? Who knows? Let's go ahead and check out the recorded data. Hopefully, we can access that once they turn this off. I'm going to go knocking on their door and find out what they're up to. So that looks like that is the earthquake right here. I believe 0220 I'm going to give this a couple minutes here and see if that is 0 to 10. I believe this is the earthquake here that we've seen, and a subsequent little shallow type movement. But look at this before the earthquake. There's some type of odd movement once again here, and we've been seeing this type of unusual type of signature on the seismographs over the past couple days. It's been a kind of a prominent feature. Let's wait for the prior day activity to pop up here. Stand by for a second. Definitely some earthquake activity. Look at this though. It kind of popped up again. So here's what I'm thinking with this. Okay, you guys see this line right here? See how it kind of comes on and makes a weird little signature, and then it kicks off. Similar to what we've seen prior to 24 hours. Comes on a little bit and it does its little thing, and then it goes away. If you look on the previous day prior to that as well, we had the same little type of experience up here. And they're all equal to about 24 hours in the time frame. So I can't really say that is actually legitimate activity happening under the ground or volcanic activity. The way things pop up like that, it could be machinery coming on for an hour, 20 minutes around the area every 24 hours. Who knows? A generator? But it's odd. If this was like magma or a movement underground, it would be sporadic and not timed every 24 hours, if you guys get what I'm saying. But this here, definitely a legit earthquake. There was something here prior to that earthquake there. But if you notice, that little event I was just kind of talking about started a little bit earlier than the 0100 UTC time, but it still got that same time frame, same signature. That just kind of disqualifies any type of magma movement, tectonic plate movement, weather-related activity. It's timed, and most of the time, human electronics and whatnot do set up that type of signature on a live seismograph. So, all right, moving on. But we did have this. Look at this. I'm not for sure what that is. That's obviously not timed, and it's not giving that odd signature that I was just kind of showing you guys. So it kind of looks like an earthquake, but more away from this area, away from this seismograph station. This seismograph station here I'm showing you is right smack dab at the Mount St. Helens area. This is Mount St. Helens volcano. There's a couple earthquakes here shown up on the map. The last earthquake they have here is from 3 days ago. And they only reported like a fraction of the earthquake activity that is occurring here at Mount St. Helens. So I've been checking out this seismograph station, and just today, we've seen that one obviously pop up on the live stream, and some prior earthquake activity as well. See these very small spikes? Those are all earthquake activity as well. And look at this throughout the morning and afternoon time frame. A lot. I would say that's a pretty good uptick in movement there at Mount St. Helens volcano, folks. But no reporting from the USGS. Nada. Not even this earthquake that we've seen come up live on a seismograph, folks. It doesn't exist. It does not exist, according to them. So preliminary data systems are kind of turned off now. I don't know how low they have it turned off, depending on what magnitude. I know we've had earthquake activity around Yellowstone National Park. Some oddball earthquake activity here around the area where we've seen that 4.2. Obviously, their preliminary earthquake data systems reported that 4.2, which is, let's bring back 7 days right here, 4.2 near Silver Gate, Montana, just on the eastern edge of the Yellowstone supervolcano caldera. This earthquake was rather deep at about 14 kilometers. But since then, let's go ahead and bring up these 7 days, all magnitudes here. There's been a couple aftershocks here following that earthquake, but it was that day. Almost immediately following that 4.2, so it kind of got kicked on. But since then, nothing being reported from the USGS network, even though there's earthquake activity kind of bumping over here still along the eastern edge of the Yellowstone caldera, just outside the eastern edge, more so around Parker Peak region. Let me show you guys the previous day activity. That's going to be this earthquake activity right here. Kind of showed up here on Parker Peak. I know it's earthquake activity because it showed up on various other seismograph stations, including way across the park here, way across the Yellowstone area. I can decipher large earthquakes globally, right? Large earthquakes do show up on the seismograph stations, but these are not far away earthquakes. These are localized to the eastern section of Yellowstone National Park. That's these 3 earthquakes right here. I did email the professor or scientist. Let's see what his name is here. Shall we mention what his name is? Let me go ahead and check my email here real quick. He is with the Yellowstone let's see here. Hold on a second. He's with the Yellowstone USGS network. And let me see where it went to. Wow, I'm not seeing it right now here on my email. I'm going to have to check back here in a little bit. Not for sure what happened, but the email's missing from my phone now. That's kind of a little odd. So I'll check back in that in a little bit. But I did email someone that that specific question as to what's going on here in the Yellowstone area. Is this normal? How come nobody's reporting it? So it is what it is. And we'll continue to kind of bug these guys because they're not being very transparent. You know, they always talk about transparency. If there's earthquakes, you'll know about them. Well, yeah, we know about them. We can see them. But you guys aren't reporting them. They're not reporting them. Okay, let's get back to today's activity. Man, that's just an odd quake. Very odd quake. Okay, so we did have some movement along the Java Trench. A 5.8 originally came in as a 6.1. Downgraded pretty drastically to a 5.8 earthquake at about 21.4 kilometers into the Java Trench. Since then, no further activity. It looks like a little bit of backbuilding to the east around the Papua New Guinea area and the Micronesia area, 4.5 in each location, but nothing here in the Java Trench. So that's a little concerning there when we see a 5.8 with no aftershock sequences whatsoever. Northwestern part of the Pacific Plate, very quiet. One earthquake up here from last night off the coast of Russia, but into the Kuril-Kamchatka Trench. Into the Alaska region, low activity throughout the Aleutian Trench region. Nothing significant. Low activity here in the Gulf of Alaska. It looks like a little swarm of movement. Around the Mount Fairweather area, it looks like, of Alaska region. Into the states, see what we got going on. I mean, it's I don't know. A little bit of activity around the Petrolia station here in northern Cal. It's a Cascadia megathrust zone, a 2.7 at 23 kilometers. Northern California, for the most part, pretty quiet until you get down here to the south part of the state. A little activity around the Ridgecrest, and one earthquake right smack dab on the Garlock Fault structure again, a 1.4 at about 8 kilometers down into that fault. We did see that swarming activity off the coast of the southern end of the San Andreas Fault zone, just by a couple miles there to the east. Haven't seen anything further. Looks like a 0.9 maybe this afternoon and a 0.9, 2 of them. But looks like the swarming has temporarily stopped in that area. Although I think seismic activity is still on the alert side here in the southern portion of the state, just with all the swarming recently and the movement along the Garlock Fault structure. It's a kind of a shear zone. Gives us an indicator of the dynamic pressure gradients here in the state of California. Let's see, throughout Nevada, a little activity kicking up here outside of Las Vegas into the, what do we got here? Mercury Ridge. Some earthquakes down there, somewhat deep as well, about 11 kilometers for a couple of these very small microquakes in the Nevada desert. Kind of stretching up there across the crest of the mountains through Utah into Yellowstone National Park. Again, nothing really being reported here by these folks here. 1.1, that is definitely not the earthquake in question that I'm kind of trying to figure out about. Oklahoma, Texas, somewhat quiet, low activity throughout the region. Still seeing that low swarming here in the New Madrid zone. We did see some further activity this afternoon with another 1.5 here in the mix. 13.1 kilometers. So a little uptick, I would say, right? Around the New Madrid zone, kicking up. One earthquake up here in Missouri, or Illinois. Mount Vernon area, 15 kilometers for a 2.3. Definitely a little bit of noticeable earthquake here along this fault structure. There's some fault systems besides the New Madrid zone. They kind of spread up there towards Illinois area. Eastern part of the country, pretty quiet. Puerto Rico, some activity kicking up around the bend. And no new activity to report here around the South America region. We did see some activity into the South Sandwich Islands with a 4.9 and some earthquake activity well north of Iceland around the Greenland Sea with a 4.6 earthquake striking that area. Stand by for just 1 second here while I flip something over and see what we got. Let's see here. Oakwood, Georgia, by David Lynch. We took this photo of the lunar eclipse last night. Pretty awesome. Thanks there, David, for that beautiful photo. I got out there and it's kind of dark, and the moon unfortunately was on the horizon, the eastern horizon here, and unfortunately could not get a perfect shot. I did get a couple shots, and I did post it up onto my Facebook page. So if you're kind of curious about that, it is up on the Facebook and Twitter page for sure. So I think that was pretty cool indeed. So thanks for sharing that. Once again, if you do have any photos you would like to share with the Earthmaster channel, please feel free to. I have no issues giving you guys credit out there and showing awesome photos. Just got to send it to the earthmastermail@gmail.com and we'll get that photo on for you. Pending you release, of course, and allow me to use it onto the channel here. Let's see what else we got. Let's go ahead and go back to the tremor map here. I know we kind of skipped over that real quick. Holy smokes. Kind of funny, right? You know, when, look at that. That is a mega movement along the entire area of the Cascadia subduction zone. No joke. That's up and down the board. From the northern end to the southern end, folks. I think if anything, we need to be watching the Cascadia pretty closely with this type of movement. 690 epicenters of tremor. And it's just not in one area. It's in the entire segment of the Cascadia subduction zone. That's a little on the odd side to see this much activity on a broad, wide scale. And if anything, this is definitely adding further buildup and strain up along this area that has been building up strain for 322 years. The last major rupture back in 1700 produced a 9.0 earthquake, which pretty much sent a pretty large tsunami, not only through the Pacific Northwest, but also across the Pacific. I'm sure including Hawaii and Japan. How do they know that? Well, there's records. It's in the soil. It's in the Japan historical records. And no doubt that will happen again one day. It's not a fairy tale. It's not a theory. It's a fact that this thing will pop one day. 322 years. Regular intervals, right? We've covered this numerous times on the show. Could be between 250 and 500 years. You know, on average. But it's been a while. 322 years of buildup. Any day now, I think, when this thing could possibly produce its glory, I guess, here along the Pacific Northwest. Not going to be good glory, but it's going to definitely be quite the wake-up call for folks out here. Being here in Northern California, no doubt I will be affected as well. Luckily, I'm inland, but a 9-pointer up here, oh yeah, we can probably talk about, oh yeah, I don't have a whole lot of stuff up on my wall, but, you know, my TV and whatnot would probably be in pieces. That's a pretty good number, folks. 690 epicenters of tremor along the Cascadia, so just a heads up in that matter. Holy smokes. Earthquakes Canada, see if we got any movement up there along the northern end of the Cascadia, which it looks like we do here from the Earthquakes Canada place here, site. Towards the Prince Rupert area. Looks like still a little bit of swarming activity here off the Cape Ball region. Latest earthquake shows a 2.2 near Port Clements, BC area at 5 kilometers. And that's well north of the Cascadia subduction zone, which sits here along this blue line off the coast of Vancouver Island, ranges southward into Northern California here. So it's going to be the Juan de Fuca plate, a little micro Gorda plate, and the little Explorer plate up here. Kind of 3 plates subducting underneath the North American plate from the west. And, of course, you got the movement of the North American plate kind of heading in that direction here. And it just kind of definitely been building up, folks. Definitely building up. Let's see what we got for the solar weather activity as we check out solarham.net website. Looks like a little bit of amplification there on the solar charts right now. I'm seeing a little bit of radio blackout on the solar map. Looks like maybe a C flare kicking in currently. Nothing spectacular, but yeah, a little one. Did have an M2 2.4 excuse me, earlier this morning that kind of kicked up. There is a couple massive, I'm talking massive regional sunspots here, folks. Look at that. That is ginormous. I mean, how much bigger can they get? I mean, that's just wow. It's pretty impressive. It's a whole cluster of sunspots here. And some of these are looking pretty dynamic, even from this morning's time frame. This little 3014 here, I shouldn't say little. It's definitely got some intermixing of the polarity of the fields that do harbor some possible M flares. Got to watch that pretty closely. A couple other new sunspot developments here north of 3016, and wow, yeah, it's getting really active. These guys forecasting looks like they did upgrade that, luckily, because I was going to throw that out there that it should be upgraded. X flare around 15% chance, M flare around 45% chance, with 99% certainty of a C flare. That's pretty obvious with the threshold in the C flare category currently. Man, these things are just they're ramping up, folks, ramping up. These things look like they could be getting ready to pop off a pretty good solar flare. And of course, in the coming days, they will be Earth directed. Any CME that does spark off or pop off the sun will be Earth directed. And of course, flares, almost certainty, do affect Earth, but in a different way. They don't have to be directly pointed towards Earth to affect Earth on the radio frequency blackouts and whatnot. But yeah, all this is going to be rotating into view here pretty soon. So, going to be an interesting week and weekend. I want to check here real quick and see if the USGS has reported this yet. You know, maybe it took them a couple minutes to see. Hey, look, seismograph is going off there at Mount St. Helens. Nope. Zip, zero, nada. I don't know, folks. Anyway, I'm still waiting on an email from one of the seismologists about the activity in Yellowstone. Got an earthquake in Kansas right now, 2.2 near the Hutchinson, Kansas region at about 5 kilometers. So a little activity shaking the things up there in the southern plains. Beautiful state of Kansas. Could be home territory here pretty soon. Something about those wide open plains, man. I love it. And the storms, of course. The storms is the big deal. What I love. Let's see. So, all right, guys. I'm going to bounce out of here. Like I say, watch a couple regions right now. Cascadia with that uptick. And now we got that odd movement out in the Pacific right there. It's hard to say exactly what's going to happen. The best thing to do is just be prepared and stay alert. Stay tuned for any updates here on the channel. Make sure you guys are a subscriber. That way you can get notified on the most recent updates. And, of course, if anything major happens, we always try to go live. We're always running live 24/7, of course, on the live stream. And that's always up and running. But if something major comes on and the stream goes down, I'll try to go live on the mobile. But Just getting kind of crazy out there, folks, let me tell you. Once again, we do appreciate everyone out there on the super chats and donations. If you feel like you like this channel and you do want to help us out, making super thanks, super donations and whatnot here on the channel, super chats do help us out 100%. And all the funds do get contributed back into the stream, whether it's quality or on-field locations, which we need to do here pretty soon, I think, again. Check out some activity. And like I say, it does help out the YouTube algorithms, okay? They've been kind of iffy lately in getting the videos out. A lot of people saying they haven't been notified of my videos. So giving a thumbs up here on this video, hitting that like button, and possibly making a small donation does help out, contribute to YouTube's algorithms. And they see, hey, these people like the content that they're viewing, so let's put it out there more. All right, guys. Either way, we appreciate every single one of you guys, and we're closing in on 75,000. We're just a short distance away. We need to make that happen soon. Getting kind of anxious about giving some prizes away, so let's make that happen, guys. Share the video, get your family to subscribe, and again, like and comment. Even comments here on the video do help out the algorithms. Sharing, liking, commenting, all that stuff. All right, guys, have a good day. Please stay safe out there, and we will chat you guys a little bit later on. Have a good night. Peace out.